too much further. The rotten moss on these trees means that we're getting close to the foraging grounds, my dear accomplice. I understand that you are mortal and that our predicament is rather dire. But patience, it is a virtue that I hold dear to me. We're looking for a great many things. Such as this. Remember what I taught you back at the inn? Oh dear, you've forgotten already, have you? And to think that you might have been listening to my words and not dozing off during my teachings. Nevertheless, this is patch blight moss. Applied to wounds directly after being dried, it serves as a perfect way to clot bleeding and pull together wounds without stitches. No fun in that, but quite efficient, I must admit. Soaking these lovely little morsels in a blend of wispweed and white arleniums will give the patches an antibacterial effect. Combined with some of my own magic, they'll be necessary in keeping your wound on the mend during our travels. Do you listen to anything that I have to say, accomplice? We're heading towards the ruins of Arlington Monastery. Terrible place, disgusting even. It reeks of holy magic left behind by the priests who sanctified the grounds a century or so ago. Back when the Blackwater Archipelago was still in one piece, more or less. It was once a lovely place, I'm sure. Marble halls, gold-gilded buttresses, and more than a few of those robed wretches waddling about, with their holy tomes and the like. A place of worship. But worship of a god that cares not of their namesake. Vitaria. Oh, how the followers of that whelp were so blindly led to believe that prayers and faith alone could protect them from the mists of Ballaston. No, I have no quarrel with them now. They're all dead. Pirate raids turned the place into a fortress rivaling that of the strength of Cossovo. Then the grounds were soaked with the blood of Grenflurians due to their campaign from the east, trying to quell the pirate rebellions. It was all ended when Anvil and their raiders torched the place to the ground. Even now, I'm sure that Grenflurian skeletons hang from the chains at the gates where they'd been executed so long ago. I know more than of medicine, accomplice. Having lived so long, gaining information that could prove useful to me in furthering my studies is half pastime and half work. History holds many secrets, and it's the same reason that I know to come here in search of healing herbs and other plants holding medicinal properties. Not just medicines, dear. I'll be searching for more supplies to make potions, poisons, alchemic ingredients for rituals and spells. Plenty. We've not much time here, and chance should have it that these grounds hold a wealth of that which I require. I intend on making the most of what time I have here. What after this? After this, we will need to make way towards Whiplash Wharf. I'm sure that you've heard of it. Of course. The bottomless barrel of the Blackwaters. A place teeming with so much liquor that it'd make even a dwarf of the Nordlands gag at the mere scent of the place. We're heading there because it's closest to our next destination, and I believe that it'll be one of the last times that we're able to rest for more than a fleeting hour or a cautious night. The wharf is safe as it is, somewhat neutral ground. Nearly everyone in the archipelago desires nothing more than coin in their purse and a stiff drink waiting to be poured down their throats. To destroy the Wharf would be to bring an end to the drunken songs of the sea. They've many distilleries and have spent generations perfecting their craft. I do not respect the thought of filling the seas with liquor as their forefathers and those before them wished to do. But I do respect their attention to detail, working with what little resources they had after the cracking of Thermos. One can only assume that they are geniuses in their respective profession of making liquor. I'm no stranger to good drink. I just prefer more alternative methods of relaxation. We needn't get into those, accomplice. Now, from Whiplash we shall make way north to Safe Haven, which, despite its namesake, is not safe in the slightest, but it is where we'll need to go in order to charter a ferry from there to our final destination, Hurricane Harbor. Once we've made port and resupplied ourselves, we can finally make way to my old home in the mountains south of Castle Elwind. Well, the reason that I chose that place in particular is because, if I'm to be honest, it was magnificent. The view, the scent, all that chaos and war. The mayhem and death that followed after every failed attempt to raid the castle, owned by vagrant knights and dishonored soldiers of the former Grenflurian campaigns. All of them searching for redemption, reaching with outstretched hands, grasping for any semblance of purpose. The death and rot, the bodies to harvest. Oh, so marvelous were the days where I could sit and watch the theaters of war play out before me, drawing back those blood-red curtains to reveal that which I desired. Oh, yes, and of course it was a lovely little nook to hide myself in. The mountains are desolate and barren. Traversing the area after dark is nearly impossible, unless you're equipped 100 men strong with holy water and pikes at the ready. Even then, it'd be a feat of great determination to reach the rock face. Because I'm the one that created those lovely little creatures that stalk the cliff sides of Elwind, my dear accomplice. They'll welcome us with open arms, I assure you, and ward off any potential tales that may have stalked us from the harbor. This would appear to be the last thing that I'll require, for now, at least. We're just reaching the outskirts of the Arlington ruins now. There will be more that you will help me harvest. Oh, and what? Will you have me bending over and wrecking my poor back foraging for all these morsels of the earth on my lonesome? Fear not. Only a few more things and I know the perfect place to spend the night. I've a feeling that we won't have enough daylight to make it back to town safely before the moon rises. Now come along, pet. My pack is only half full, and I shan't leave before I've had my fill. Oh, how I wish you'd have listened to my lectures while we were in town. There's a garden patch over there from some ill-fated farmer. Search the area for rosemary, thyme, and glasswort. I know that you are at least knowledgeable on these. Oh, don't you worry. I've use for them. And you shall see soon enough what I have in store for you, my dear. Nightfall is upon us. Moonless sweet chains that make all one. We are here, our lodging for the night. Well, I can't be sure. I'd surmise due to the ample supply of wood and the rusty axe lodged into the stump there that this would have been a logger's hut at some point. Doesn't matter. Let's head on in. I'm sure that there will need to be some preliminary cleaning before we can get comfortable. Believe me when I tell you this, accomplice. No one's been here for a very long time. Now come in, make yourself at home. Not as bad as I thought it'd be. Could use some dusting, though. Oh, I'm not worried about being found. This far from town? Let them come. I could use more materials if they're so keen on donating to my research. I suppose we could try to be peaceful. But where would be the fun in that? The progress? Ignis. This should do. The nights are cold in this forest, I think. Are you hungry? Good. I went a ways out to find some fresh game for supper while we were separated during the forage. For tonight, a little rabbit. Suppose it wasn't fast enough, but we need to eat, accomplice. You're right. Perhaps by we, I mean you. Still, a wonderful little meal you'll have tonight. Potatoes, some wild garlic and onions. Oh, and that rosemary, thyme, and glasswort I asked you to fetch for me. You did get some, didn't you? Oh, I just knew that you wouldn't let me down. Such a good little thing you are for me. Well, I'll get to work. You dust things off and try your best to make the place comfortable. No need. We'll only be spending the night here anyways. You wish to ask me some questions? Accomplice. You know that I'll always make time for you in those pretty eyes of yours. Ask away. Where am I from? Oh, don't be so boring, dear. Ask me something interesting, like how to properly extract a clavicle without ruining the soft tissues surrounding the... Of course, go on. My interests in the medical arts. Well, you already know I've always been keen on healing. But I suppose it all started when I began to see the beginnings of the crackening, the breaking death of Theramis' hold. I knew it was coming, and I sought to prepare myself, to acquire knowledge, proof, and warn others of the coming turmoil, the devastation. But my studies led me down dark paths and through thick and unending fog. Black magics, blood arts. My own flesh torn asunder and riddled with my piety and belief in the good that could be. I was ignored, as so many others were, and though cast out from my academy, I still persevered, still clung to the hope that I'd be able to change something, to prevent something. When the crackening of Theramis finally came to fruition, I'd already become learned in the ways of the mists, of cures and remedies deemed too perilous or unsuitable and unethical to be used on sentient life. From there, when the skies turned black and the seas themselves roiled dashing corpses upon Ballaston's rocky shores, I knew that I was needed, that there was an entire new world of death for me to explore, to love, to learn from. I still recount the day that I heard the sound of the arcane seals and Theralis tearing themselves to pieces. The agonized cries of thousands. The ground beneath me pulling me deeper into my fervent praise of that destruction I'd warned circa Eternum of. What I'd sought to prevent had become my savior. No, I am no Blackstone worshipper accomplice. Why? Well, what would I have left to learn if all was naught but bone, rubble, and ash? You can't dissect ashes, you know. I would if I could. You seem frightened by my response. I assure you, if I sought to bring harm to the world as we know it, I would have. But to destroy is so much easier than to heal, to repair, to give birth unto new ideals and ways of seeing the universe. Death opened my eyes, and in time death will close them. But not yet, not tonight. Tonight I will live as mortals do, breathe as mortals do, and offer my companionship during my time with you. Your meal is nearly ready. After this, I'd humbly recommend that you get some shut-eye. The journey back to town will be hard enough, and we still have to get to Whiplash Wharf afterwards, which will be a struggle in its own right. For dinner, boiled and seared potatoes and minced wild onions with a simple garlic and thyme infusion. To complement the flavors available, a rosemary sauce salted with powdered glasswort. My only regret is I had no red wine that I could have deglazed to make a proper sauce with, nor the necessary butter. I used to eat and cook quite well if I could be so arrogant. Why am I being so caring? Well, because, it's not just because of our deal. Far more than that. More than I'd care to explain. Accomplice, I must admit that I'm taken aback by your forwardness. Though I can't say I'm not happy you seem to be warming up to me. Well, the cause of my attentiveness for you is because I see something in you. A great potential. Perhaps it is rather pedestrian. Regardless, I see in you something strange. Perhaps I'm comforted by the warmth and humanity I find in you. To know that a creature such as you can exist in a place as cold and dark as the Blackwater Archipelago stirs something within me. Something that I haven't known for a very, very long time. Is there more to it? Perhaps. But I feel that there's no necessity in telling you everything I feel at the moment. You know, I could just be luring you to my lair to take those eyes that I love so much. Perhaps a finger on our travels, a liver in your sleep. Anything to add to my collection. Oh, of course, of course. It's just a jest, I assure you. Unless necessary, I don't harm the living. Yes. Where do I keep all the body parts? The things for my collection, those sweet, tempting morsels. Well, that's my little secret. And I only hope that you never have to find out. But, alas, you should finish your meal and rest. I must go gather more supplies for our travels and keep an eye out for things that may wish to bring us harm. Yes, right now. The sooner I leave, the sooner that I'll return. And I can't be leaving my dear accomplice all on their lonesome for too long, can I? Enjoy the food. I'll be back before sunrise. Oh, of course, dear. You're welcome. Iterun selde defunde. You lot defend my little friend over in that cabin. I won't be too long. I wonder what wild things lurk in the shadows for me to hunt tonight. If I'm lucky, perhaps someone will try to rob a lonesome traveler such as me. Then I won't be able to help myself. Then I'll have more bodies to cut and collect.